What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7, and it's time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych, and we have a fun episode of Peacemaker to talk about today. And joining me, I have, for the first time as my co-host this Peacemaker season, we got MetalCoreNerds, Sean Mott. There we go. Sean Mott, how you doing? I was just literally talking off screen before we got on about how I hadn't taken my ADHD meds, and now I'm dyslexia-ing your name. Sean, how you doing today?
That's alternate universe me is Sean Mott, I think.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. I haven't been here the first 2 episodes, so it's nice to be here to talk some Peacemaker, 11th Street Kids, all the wackiness that is happening this season.
Returning from joining us on episode 1 of Peacemaker, we got the wonderful Rachel Tolleson. How you doing, Rachel?
I'm good. It's Friday. It's nice outside. I'm excited to talk about this episode that had me laughing so hard so many times.
It's Friday, and it feels like it should be the end of a relaxing week, but if I'm honest, I had a relaxing Monday, Tuesday, and now it's the first weekend of the NFL season, and so I'm busier than ever, but it's exciting for me because I've been excited for this first week for a while. So I'm sure as the season goes on, I'll be like getting tired, wishing I wasn't waking up early Sunday morning to do content. But as of right now, I'm excited to dive in. So it's a bit of it's a busy weekend upcoming for me, but a energizing weekend as well. It's one of those where it's a lot of work, but I love my job, so I'm okay that it's a lot of work. But joining us as well this weekend to talk about some Peacemaker. We haven't seen him on the pod for a while, but we know him, we love him. It's Christopher Mills. How you doing, Chris?
I'm glad to be back. I think the last time was Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, so I'm glad to be back to talk about Peacemaker. This episode I'm excited to talk about, especially like theories that we may have.
We talked a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about getting you back on the podcast, and you were like, episode 3. Episode 3 is the one that I want to pop in for, and it was a big one indeed, especially how the episode begins. But before we dive into that, before we start talking spoilers, I want to know what you're watching. And so, Sean, I'll throw it to you first. You always typically have a wealth of TV shows that you're diving into, and we haven't talked in a while, so I want to know what you're watching.
It has been a while. I have kind of been off TV. I guess there's 2 I'll mention. They're both Amazon Prime shows. One, I watched The Terminalist Dark Wolf, the prequel series. It was pretty good. It's pretty solid. I like The Terminalist better. I feel like not a lot of people talked about that. Maybe it's because everyone hates Chris Pratt. I don't know. I think he's really good in that series. He's also in this one too. Not as much, but this one's solid. I thought of you while watching it because it is very much a squad up type of series. And that's all I could think of, where Terminalist is very kind of just Chris Pratt viciously murdering people. This one is very much a squad forming. And I was like, TJ would be so stoked about this. That's all I kept thinking. All the squad. And then on the very opposite end of the spectrum, this show called The Runarounds. It's on Amazon Prime. It's the same creator as Outer Banks, which I've never watched, admittedly. But basically, this show follows a group of high schoolers, and it's the summer break between when they graduated high school and going into college. And they're in a band, and they're trying to make it big. And that's like the whole premise of this thing. And I think I've talked about this before, but music in media bothers me so much because most of the time the person playing said instrument doesn't even try to look like they're playing the instrument, and it drives me insane. But this show kills it. The kid playing drums is definitely playing drums, and he has to, because there's no way he's faking looking like he's playing drums in the show. And I guess the biggest thing that's cool is all these fictional bands in it, and there's all original songs for all of them, and that's really cool. It's very much a high school kind of drama-y kind of thing, and you have to deal with that if that's not your thing. But I think the biggest thing I got out of it is the show is basically about who cares what people think you should do with your life, especially if it's like your parents or whoever. Like, just start a band with your friends and try to do that thing. And that's awesome. Any show that's going to do that, I'm all for. I guess those are the series I've been watching, other than like Alien Earth and Peacemaker that are currently coming out. But I did catch up on a few horror movies this year. So this week I watched Together. I Know You Did Last Summer, the Legacy sequel, whatever, and then Bring Her Back. And Bring Her Back, I don't think I've seen a movie in a long time that's affected me like that. It exudes this insane atmosphere of just dread and grossness. Like, I still, like, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, oh, like, I feel icky thinking about it. And they only have like really 2 scenes that are that make you feel that way visually, but that tone is set from moment 1 and it does not let up. Also say is there is a kitchen scene with
I don't want to remember that. Don't remind me. Oh, I had to look away at that one.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. And it looks insane, but it's the sound that's the worst. The sound is awful. So big ups to that duo. They also did talk to me. I'll watch anything those guys do because they just create an insane atmosphere. And good to know, Jam. It's a solid watch. I think they dropped it at once. I don't know.
This is why we do What You Watching, is so that when people are listening, people are watching live on YouTube, hitting that like button, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, they can find new shows with like-minded people too that they might want to tap into. So absolutely love it. May not take your movie recommendation, nothing. I mean, there is nothing I like more when I, have the free time to watch a movie than Dread. Like, Dread is kind of the number one thing I do look for in a movie when I'm trying to relax, is I surely don't have enough dread in my life as it is. No existential dread, things like that. And so I definitely want to get more of it in my movies. Rachel, how about you? What have you been watching?
Gosh. Honestly, my life has been so busy with so many different things that I'm like trying. I just was at the Task red carpet last night. So I've been watching a little bit of Task, which I think is a really good show so far. It's got some really great performances. Tom Pelphrey is amazing. I really, really loved him in it. It's a good one. If you like Mare of Easttown, it's kind of like that gritty, realistic, like very grounded kind of drama, but it's really dark. Like, there's really like no kind of like upside to it. It's just kind of like a dark show, but you'll love the characters. I really do love the characters. Other than that, like I went and saw a screening of The Baltimoreans, which is J. Duplass's new film. It was lovely. It was a little Christmas rom-com kind of deal, and I loved it because I love flawed characters, and both of those characters are very flawed, but in good ways. So I think if you like rom-coms and you like kind of like those kind of realistically flawed, imperfect people, you'll like that one. And then I think the only other thing is I've got my roommate into Hell of a Boss. So I have been making her watch all of that before it comes on Amazon Prime next week. So, if you like raunchy animated comedies about demons, check it out on Amazon Prime, September 10th. It's popping up there. But that's been pretty much my life. That and like other random things that I've been just watching.
I've been still deep in my quest to either rewatch for a second time and just like, because I didn't really fully appreciate it the first time, or watch for the first time some classics or classic directors and try and get through as many blind spots that I had in my filmography. I don't know if you can still call that for watching and when you're not creating, but in my filmography that I have. And so I decided I've been just working hard. I've talked about it on the pod. I've been working hard to, quote unquote, working hard to watch at least one movie per day and knock some classics off the list. So recently for me has been True Grit, Eyes Wide Shut, American Gangster, Taxi Driver, and that's been the last 4 days. Of that group, I would say my favorite is True Grit. My goodness, Haley Steinfeld as a little kiddo, just absolutely coming in, acting her ass off. I really enjoyed that one quite a bit. In terms of television, we just started watching part 2 of Wednesday, season 2. I like that show. It's fun. Just kind of like a nice turn your brain. I mean, not totally turn your brain off, because I do like to theorize about the mystery, but just a nice relax and watch Jenna Ortega crush it. And then 2 other shows got screeners for that I'm watching and I can't talk about yet, but I'm looking forward to being able to talk about here on the show. Chris, how about you? What you been watching?
I've been watching some shows and some films. The first show is kind of a rewatch, kind of not. Used to watch it when I was younger, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Because of Fortnite, I've just like been sucked back into this Power Rangers wormhole. So now me and my friend are planning to watch every single Power Ranger series. So currently we're on Mighty Morphin, and I've been having a blast with it. It's kind of fun just seeing, kind of noticing some of the background stuff. Like there was an episode where it was a Megazord fight, but there was like a life-size human kid standing behind the Megazord, and it was just fun noticing these little like mistakes from the Super Sentai that they didn't really notice. And then second show is Dandadan. I didn't watch it when it first came out, so now I'm like trying to catch up on it. I just watched the 4th episode today, so I'm enjoying that. Love the animation on Dandadan. I think the animation is brilliant. And then some films. The other day I went to go watch Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, which is coming out, I believe, next week, at least in the UK. That film is absolutely insane. I've been seeing some people say the pacing is not the best, which is true, but I think the pacing helps, round out these character stories, flesh them out, and it's just beautiful. Like, you're bound to cry if you've watched Demon Slayer. If you haven't watched Demon Slayer, you should watch Demon Slayer. I think it's a fantastic anime. And then I watched The Long Walk as well, which has entered into my top 5 of the year. Brilliant movie. Incredibly touching. It just makes you think about, friendship, brotherhood, a beautiful journey that's kind of hard to watch at times, but a great movie that also comes out next week. And then also watched Equilibrium yesterday for the first time, which stars Christian Bale, and it's kind of like this Matrix-esque movie where essentially all types of like feeling and emotion is illegal, and they take a drug to kind of stop themselves from feeling this emotion, but Christian Bale's character kind of fights against that, and that's kind of what the movie's about. It has Gun Carter, which obviously most people know from John Wick, but I feel like this is the first time you kind of see Gun Carter used as like this main sort of action fighting style, basically. And it was fun to watch. It felt very 2002, but I enjoyed it. Christian Bale was fantastic in it. I think if it wasn't for Christian Bale, I might have not liked the movie as much, but yeah, I had a great time watching that. So that's kind of what I've been watching the past week or so.
Before we dive into Peacemaker, there was some DC related news that I want to talk about. As James Gunn's been going wild lately. He's out here announcing there's been, he's talked about how not a direct sequel to Superman, but he's in the midst of writing the next story in related to Superman. And then a couple weeks later, bam, it's done. He announces he's finished writing it. And Man of Tomorrow has been announced for 2027 in July. And we get some artwork from comics with Lex Luthor in his full-on green and purple kryptonite-induced super suit. And we have a few actors as well teasing that they're likely to be in this film. Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl. Why am I forgetting his name off the top of my head? Jeepers. Aaron Pierre, there we go, as John Stewart, Green Lantern, teasing that he'll be part of this one as well. So it's looking as it could be a bit of a team-up style film, not a Justice League film, not a Superman film, but a team that a film that brings a lot of characters together that seems to be very focused on both Lex Luthor and Superman. Shout out to Damon, host of the co-host here and host of the Comic Corner podcast. It's original artwork from Jim Lee, Jorge Jimenez, and Mitch Garrett. So shout out to Damon for reminding me of that. If you're a comic book head, check out the Comic Corner live at 10 a.m. every single Thursday here on the Agents Fandom YouTube channel. Sean, I'll throw it to you first. Are you surprised to get this announcement so quick of another Superman-related movie coming in 2027? We're going to have 3 Super Family movies at least before we get a Batman one now. What are your thoughts on this announcement?
I mean, it makes perfect sense. I do like how it feels like a kind of nice flow of things for the DCU, I guess. I mean, obviously there's kind of like Peacemaker's kind of an offshoot, and like Lanterns and Creature Commandos and everything like that kind of exist in the same universe, but, you know, the tonally definitely very different, which I like that we're getting this like fresh flavor of feeling of projects in the DCU. That's really refreshing, but I'm not surprised. I think it was inevitable, especially with how well it did. Obviously there's people that didn't like the Superman movie, but overall, like, insanely general praise. It did well in the box office, like, especially with everything stacked against it in the previous like 10 years of DC films, aside from like Batman, you know. So it makes sense. And I like, it's weird because he said he hates like subtitles for movies, because you remember Superman was Superman Legacy, changed to just Superman. Supergirl was Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, changed to just Supergirl. And now this being Man of Tomorrow and it not being a quote unquote Superman sequel is interesting. He also did call Peacemaker season 2 the prequel to Man of Tomorrow, which is also very interesting. Yep. Damon, read my mind. So I would imagine Peacemaker will also be in this movie. So I feel like it might be kind of like an Avengers type movie without being, you know, the Justice League or something. Just like a nice team up movie. I know one of the runs of Man Tomorrow features Lobo, and Lobo is going to be in Supergirl, so that would make sense if Lobo's involved in this. Obviously, Supergirl will probably be involved.
I believe also made a little tease about it when it got announced too.
Yeah, and Jam brought up Grant Gustin also commented on the post, which he was famously the CW's version of the Flash, which, I mean, I don't want to read into social media comments, but that would be kind of crazy if they had him return as the Flash. I don't know. I feel like some people would be very happy about that, but I don't know. Sometimes you
I would only be okay with that if the main DCU Flash was then, which is what I want anyways, is Wally West.
Wally West?
Yeah,
that could work. But I mean, I'm excited. I'm obviously a massive James Gunn fan, and I'm very stoked to what he's done with the DCU so far, even though it's been a few things. But the way he subtly builds things out, just in like background information or like just like a one-off character showing up or stuff like that, I think it's done so masterfully, and even already it feels so much more cohesive than the MCU like ever has. You know, just like even the first episode with the Justice Gang showing up, you're like, you don't see that in MCU shows like ever, you know. And just that little and I know they filmed like literally side by side at the same time, so that was obviously probably very easy to do. And I know there's, you know, massive scheduling things you need to do to get a character to come in for like a scene or something like that, so I can understand the logistics of some of that stuff being impossible. But I just am a very big fan of the attention to detail of connecting everything and making it feel like it's a solid story while still telling a singular story. It's building out things at the same time. So I'm stoked. Give me more DCU. I'm down.
Well said.
And I can wait for Batman. I can wait for Batman. It's fine.
You can absolutely have a singular story while still world building the extended universe at the same time. They don't. You can have these pieces that, you know, make the world feel more lived in while still telling the story you're telling. Rachel, what are your thoughts on the Superman movie, and what do you think of the Man of Tomorrow announcement? We got 3 straight years of Super Family. Superman, Supergirl, Man of Tomorrow.
It's great. Like, I'm genuinely not shocked about the announcement because James Gunn has been doing such a good job, and we know how studios are. They're like, ooh, hype, good job. Okay, we're gonna do this now. But you know, unlike Marvel, like this is one thing where I'm like, I trust James Gunn. Like it's no secret that I've been a fan of his since probably like 2005. Like he came from St. Louis like I did, so I was always like, ooh, a little bit of, you know, companionship there. But he's such a good writer and director that, like Sean said, he puts so much attention to detail and cares so much about world building that it's like, yeah, you're getting a lot of stuff instead of just being like, okay, well, here's the central story. This is all the other stuff. Superman was great. Like the way that he handled that, it was genuinely one of the best Superman movies. Like I can't even say anything besides that. Like it was just that good. He's just amazing, and I can't wait to see like what he's going to do with everything coming up. 2027 is going to be great.
2027 is going to be very great. We just got the announcement of Man of Tomorrow here in July. We have in June, we have Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. We have the live action How to Train Your Dragon 2. In May, it's Legends of Zelda and Star Wars Starfighter. I hope Shrek 5 in June as well. I missed that. Probably will end up being the biggest of all of them.
Bluey.
There was just
Bluey the movie, yeah.
The Bluey movie.
The Bluey
Wait, there's
movie.
a Bluey movie?
There was one more that just got announced for summer 2027. I remember seeing it. And how could I forget the show that I watch probably more than anything else right now with my daughter? It's Bluey. And so we got that. Then, of course, in December, pending it doesn't get delayed, we have Avengers Secret Wars capping the year off as well. So big year for movies in 2027. Chris, what do you think about the Man of Tomorrow announcement?
To me, it's good food. It's more good food. I enjoyed Creature Commanders. I enjoyed Superman. I'm enjoying Peacemaker. I have no reason not to trust James Gunn and what he's doing with the DCU and his process when it comes to it. I enjoyed the images that came out from the DC artists, and I kind of noticed how some of them had them fighting while some of them had them kind of standing back to back, looking like they're going to team up. So it makes me feel like we're probably going to see them have a serious fight, unlike in Superman, and then maybe it switched to a team up movie where they have to face a bigger threat, which has me excited because we've not ever seen anything like that with Superman or Lex Luthor in live action before. So I'm excited to see that kind of dynamic between the two characters. So I'm just excited, and especially with maybe Peacemaker, Supergirl, possibly Green Lantern, all in this one film. I've got no reason to not be excited. Like it's probably one of my most anticipated films now, just from the possible idea of what could happen in this movie. And also, as Sean mentioned, James Gunn mentioning Peacemaker's a sort of prequel to Man of Tomorrow. I'm excited to see what might happen in the later episodes. Like you said, TJ, they filmed close to each other. We had Peacemaker and Superman. We had the Justice Gang in Peacemaker. Maybe perhaps David Corn Sweat or Nicholas Hoult popped over to the set to film something small. Who knows? But I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
As we transition into Peacemaker here, I want to ask all of you, and I'll stick here with Chris. Who is your dream, like your white whale, your dream of, I hope this character shows up in Peacemaker? And who is your, I think it is very possible that this character shows up as a cameo in Peacemaker, with all of these teases that the later episodes are going to heavily connect. We just said, I lied. I said, you're going to go first. I'm going to go first because this is what made me think of it. And it was a recent interview where Zola Maridueña is talking about, somebody asked him like, hey, James Gunn just said that fans of Blue Beetle maybe can get their hopes up to see him in Peacemaker. What are your thoughts about that? And he was like, oh, I don't think it's going to be me, but I mean, there are multiple Blue Beetles. I'm not the only one. And so I want to shout out to our friend Chris V on Twitter, where I saw him have this theory first, but it was something I was thinking of as well. And what if we see Ted Kord, Blue Beetle, because he's in one of these quantum doors? He is locked in another universe somewhere through this quantum portal, and maybe we see some Ted Kord Blue Beetle later in this series. My white whale, which I don't think could happen because we've heard nothing from casting news this movie's been put on the back burner in terms of writing a little bit. My dream, we got the Bloodhaven reference, would be to see a little Nightwing pop in there. That would be my white whale, but that's something that's not going to happen. Chris, how about you?
Aside from maybe like the obvious one, like I'd love to see Nicholas Hoult return as Lex. I enjoy his performance as Lex. Like maybe them just going to the prison, having a little conversation. That would be something I'd like to see. But a white whale character, you mentioned Blue Beetle, so I think I'm going to stick in that same realm and say Booster Gold would be an insane one to randomly see in Peacemaker. I feel like he's a character that could somehow make his way with all the quantum unfolding chamber stuff happening. It's not likely. There's been rumors about who's playing him, and obviously that person's been seen around at like all the premieres. But whether he's actually filmed something for them or is actually Booster Gold, we have to wait and see. But Booster Gold is someone I'd love to see in Peacemaker season 2.
Rachel, how about you? Who'd be your dream cameos for someone to show up in Peacemaker?
I mean, honestly, I have to agree with Chris. Like, I feel like that's like the most likely thing too. I think that is something that very much could happen, and I would like to see it happen. Honestly, I'm kind of open. I just love random cameos. I just want to see random people and be like, oh, I know them. It's one of my favorite little things. As long as it makes sense. As long as it's not like trying to shoehorn random people in for no reason.
Damon, who I got to shout out Damon, who's working today, wasn't able to join us on the show, but he's still hanging out in chat. And I got to shout out what he says here, because he says, get Nightwing away from Peacemaker, as far away from Peacemaker as possible. No, thank you. Because my guy Damon, who is also a massive Nightwing fan, clearly still traumatized from Harley Quinn, where Nightwing gets sexually objectified for his juicy ass. And then he gets killed off, and then he gets brought back as a crazy guy. Damon doesn't want any of that kind of business happening to our guy Nightwing, so I understand. I get it. Shout out to Chimera in the YouTube chat. Cool channel, new sub, totally agree. Booster Gold needs to make an appearance. He does not want Kumail Nanjiani as Booster Gold, though. He said he's not. I hope he does show up somewhere in the DCU, though. I don't know enough about Kumail Nanjiani to know whether or not it's a good casting. Or sorry, not Kumail. I don't know enough about Booster Gold to know about whether I like that casting or not, but I would love to see him somewhere in the DCU. Sean, how about you? Who you hoping shows up in Peacemaker season 2?
I like all your guys' picks. I think Holt as Lex is probably very likely, especially with the scene that's been shown in every preview after the episode of Rick Flagg visiting someone at Belle Reve. I think that would make more sense. It'd be really cool if someone from Creature Commandos makes their debut in live action with that instead, but I don't know why he would go there. I mean, maybe, I don't know. That would be cool. Any of them, like whether it's the Bride or I'm trying to think of the sorceress from Themyscira that was like the
Cersei?
sort of, yes, Cersei would be really cool if we saw her in live action. But Booster Gold and Ted Kord would be really sick, especially saying, like Zola has been, he's going to continue on as Blue Beetle in the DC, which is awesome. I love him. I love Cobra Kai, so I'm stoked they kept him with this new version of the universe. And I know Ted Kord in that one kind of looked like Jason Sudeikis. I know a lot of people in chat are saying Chris Pratt, which Chris Pratt would also make a very good Ted Kord. Totally agreed. But I would love a Jason Sudeikis as Ted Kord. That would be so awesome. And I feel like his dynamic with Zolo would be out of this world. I would absolutely love to see that. I kind of hope there is a Superman cameo in the show. I feel like if it ends somehow with a Superman cameo, I feel like that'd be a big deal. But we'll see. I don't know. I know John Cena just posted a picture with him and David Corn Sweat too, and he was in the outfit from episode 3. I don't know. Again, the sets were right next to each other, so that could mean absolutely nothing. But I can dream, and it'd be nice to see him back. I like David Corn Sweat as Superman. So, and seeing him interact with Peacemaker in an R-rated, like a TVMA kind of thing could be very funny. So we'll see.
Why did you, I could just see a scene of like, why did you say that about me on TV, man? Like, I already got a deal with all of Lex's monkeys calling me super shit online, and now I got to deal with you on talk shows as well. But I do love the Jason Sudeikis as Ted Kord shout out. We know already that Jason Sudeikis plays Mean Ted. He's made me cry. He's made me laugh as a Ted before on Apple TV Plus. So
that's a good point.
To see him play
this is a good
Ted
point.
Kord, Blue Beetle in the DCU. But let's start talking about Peacemaker season 2, episode 3. Spoiler warning in full effect. If you haven't seen it yet, hit pause. Make sure you follow us on wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you're subscribed so that you can hop back to us after you have seen the episode. If you're watching us live on YouTube, before you go, hit the like button, or if you're staying, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, help us grow this channel, help us find new wonderful people to join us, like Chimera, who popped into chat today. So hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you can follow us on socials. They're right down there at the bottom of the screen, at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Chris, I haven't talked to you about Peacemaker yet, so I want to know, what are your thoughts on season 2 as a whole so far, and what do you think about Peacemaker episode 3? Sorry.
Peacemaker as a whole, I've been enjoying that. I kind of like the tone and direction it's going in compared to season 1. I know for some people, especially some friends of mine who've been watching as it's released and were like, oh, it kind of feels slow, they weren't enjoying it as much, but it's definitely picking up as each episode goes, especially with this 3rd episode. A lot happens in such a short amount of time. But I've been enjoying Peacemaker season 2 so far. Episode 3 is my favorite out of the 3 episodes that I've released. And once we get into the certain details, I can't wait to talk about, how it starts, some of the stuff that goes on later on in the alternate reality. But I'm enjoying this season.
Damon in chat says this was the best episode of the season, but he's also very vocally not a fan of Agent Fleury and his bird blindness. Sean, what did you think of season 2, episode 3? And give me your Agent Fleury take. Is this just somebody needs to rein James Gunn in and just tell him to chill a little bit, or did you find this funny?
So I kind of agree with Damon, not about Agent Fleury, but in general with this season. I think Agent Fleury is hilarious. The bird blindness thing is so funny to me. Actually, the funniest joke of this whole season has been the beaker joke from last episode. That I've told all my friends about that joke. It is so funny because not only does he call him Beaker, and they cast someone who looked just like a real life version of Beaker, is that he doesn't know what Beaker is and they have to explain it. It is so funny, an underrated joke that not enough people are talking about. So funny. The bird blind stuff is funny, but the Beaker joke takes the cake for me. That's good stuff. But watching the first 2 episodes, I enjoyed them, but something felt kind of weird to me watching them, and I didn't realize what it was until episode 3. Now that season 2 has this more kind of like dire, very like dour feeling overall, I think some of the comedy comes off too tonally uneven. Sometimes, not all the time, but I think it was more prevalent in the first 2 episodes than episode 3. And I think episode 3 finally nailed the balance between the two, where it could still be funny and still has those really serious moments, and it doesn't feel off-putting. I will say the Michael Rooker's character, at some points when he reacts to something I think Economos says, and he goes, "Aw," and I'm like, dude, you're in a black ops government organization. You should not be acting like this. I think that's what's been throwing me off. Like the montage from episode 2 with the Argus agents. I was like, what is this? Like, this feels so weird and out of pocket and like not needed. And I guess, I saw someone be like, oh yeah, they're like introducing them. So we like feel something when they get brutally attacked by Eagly. But it's like, I'm always going to root for Eagly anyway. Come on, it's Eagly. But yeah, I think that's been my issue. But this episode has been the best of balancing the two, minus a few little moments. But overall, I've been really liking it. I rewatched season 1 like a few weeks ago, so that's pretty fresh in my mind. And I know a lot of people have said season 2 is better than season 1. So far, I don't agree. Not saying season 2 isn't good. I think it is very good, and I love the new tone they're facing, because that's what a season 2 of a series should do. It should explore these characters more, and I like that we're kind of seeing, even though they saved the world last season, they're all kind of at rock bottom, and it's cool to watch them kind of tackle that. And I love how they're dealing with like the multiverse in this season of television. You know, it's not to be some like crazy cameo fest or whatever. You know, it is very much a grass is greener on the other side kind of thing. And I think that's a very cool way to approach that kind of storytelling device. And it's, I just feel so bad for Christopher Smith, man. I kind of just love this guy. He's messed up, but I mean, like, we're all kind of messed up. He's been through some really like fucked up stuff. So I'm like, I like seeing him try to be a better person, and that started in season 1. But the way he has to like kind of face his trauma face to face, quite literally, this episode is really cool, and I like how they're dealing with the alternate dimensions of it all. So yeah, this is my favorite episode of the season so far, for sure. This if the other 2 episodes were on the level of this, in my opinion, I could maybe agree with some of the season 2 is better than season 1 stuff, but we still got a long way to go. We'll see how it goes.
I enjoyed season 1 more than season 2 for, you know, partially reasons like we talked about at the beginning of the show. I love a squad. I love when my squad is together, going for a quest, and that is very much what season 1 was. But like you said, I don't think season 2 is bad by any means. I think it's great, just not quite at the level for me personally that season 1 was. Rachel, what do you think about episode 3 of Peacemaker season 2?
Yeah, I really loved it. Like, I think I talked about this when I was on for the first episode about how this season is more about like focusing on characters rather than like the whole squad arc. And I'm glad they went that direction, because I think if we started season 2 and focused only on them and like, you know, them trying to pick themselves up from rock bottom, I don't think it'd be as compelling, because now we're getting to see, you know, Chris has all this trauma. He's going through all this shit. Now he's in like another dimension where things arguably are better for him. So it's like, you know, he would rather be there than in his actual own dimension. So that poses some problems, because we know how things can get with that. So it's like, how much can you mess with the timeline? Any of that stuff. But I do think, like, just from a storytelling perspective, this show continues to be consistent. It has hiccups, I do agree. Like, sometimes the humor doesn't fit. I love Agent Fleury. Sorry, I love dumb humor. He makes me laugh every single time. Him and Adrian always make me laugh with their tangents. Like, the whole, like, spider tangent in this episode, I was...
What about crows? I know crows, too.
He's like, I didn't say they did. I said they could. Like, it's just... Every time Adrian is there, I'm like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be the most batshit stuff I'm gonna hear the entire episode. So I thought it was really balanced pretty well this episode with that. Like, we got these little pockets of some humor, but like most of it wasn't that. And then we had the absolutely insane DMV scene with some insane deaths. So we got that built in. I just really love the direction that it's going. I think we're early on, like things could go either way, but it's been so strong so far that I think even if it does stumble, it's not going to make it any worse than season 1. I think they're good. I feel like they might, for me, they're about equal right now, because in my mind, they're 2 separate ways of storytelling. So we'll see like how I feel as season 2 goes on.
The Vigilante and John Economo stuff, I just love it so much with them together. Of, where are my pants? Oh, I washed them and I washed them and I dried them and folded them. What the fuck would you do that? Like, it's just like Adrian just trying to be so nice.
Then the post-credit scene where he's taking the pants off and he kisses him on the forehead.
Like, there's nothing more wholesome than giving your friend a kiss on the forehead. You know, like, I love you, and I'm here to take care of you. And he's just so sweet. And he's like, guys, I get it. I'm weird. I like spiders. It makes me a weird guy. Okay. She's like,
calling himself ghoulish. I know it makes me ghoulish.
Yeah, I know it makes me ghoulish. And she's like, you killed hundreds of people. This is not what makes you ghoulish.
It's the spiders.
My deepest, darkest secret is that I like spiders is the most insane line of dialogue I've ever heard.
It killed me. It took me so off guard. I'm like, this isn't going to be a serious confession, but I did not expect it.
Yeah, I feel like Vigilante is arguably James Gunn's funniest character that I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Like in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I feel like Drax came out as that guy, is just like absolutely hilarious. But then it kind of died for me. I feel like the Drax humor got old pretty quick for me. Vigilante hasn't. No, Vigilante humor has not gotten old for me yet. I absolutely love it. But I want to talk about the big reveal at the beginning of this episode. And I think this is a bit of a two-part question that I have for everyone, because it's something Damon and I were texting about. But the very beginning of the episode, we get Joel Kinnaman back as Rick Flagg Jr. in our own mainline universe. And what it's not only further canonizes James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, but actually canonizes some of Suicide Squad 2016 with Rick Flagg Jr.'s dating Enchantress. But he is with what we learn is his best friend and part-time lover, Emilia Harcourt. They're together, not fully together, but they're having conversations about, hey, you're my best friend, but clearly are into each other. Why don't we take this next step? But oh no, he's got to go to Corto Maltese, and Peacemaker, what a joke, kills him. This complicates his relationship with Harcourt so much from her side that he still doesn't know about. That is so incredibly interesting to me. And this is what I was talking about with Damon. Damon had mentioned that he thought it would have been cooler if they waited on that reveal, so that when he popped out in the new universe as dating Harcourt, that would have been more of like a, oh shit, there he is, instead of like, okay, where is he? He's coming. Where is he? But I actually like the way they did this a little bit more, because to me, the reveal of, oh, him and Harcourt were together, they loved each other, that to me adds so much perspective to why she absolutely cannot commit to him. She has feelings for Chris, but how can she have feelings for the guy who killed the guy she loved, killed her best friend? How do you fully open up to that, no matter how much you've seen he's changed? That trauma doesn't go away. Rachel, what were your thoughts on this reveal of having Joel Kinnaman back as Rick Flagg?
Loved it. I was like, ooh, drama. More stuff to talk about. More little wrenches in the plan. I don't know. I love when things get complicated, and I can't wait to see how this is going to further complicate things. I don't know. I'm still processing all of it and just seeing like where it's going to go, and just being like, oh shit, we're here. What's this going to do?
Sean, how about you?
At first I thought it was the alternate universe they were showing, and I was like, oh, they had he also dated Enchantress in this alternate universe, because once they said Jarhead in last episode, I was like, oh, she's with Rick Flagg Jr. for sure. And I was like, okay, cool. But then as soon as they said Corto Maltese and then went through the Suicide Squad, really fast montage, I was like, oh shit, wow. Yeah, I was exactly what you guys both said. Like, that really complicates a lot of things and makes things make a lot of sense. It was her only friend in the world, also the person she was in love with, and then dead. And then she has to work with the guy who killed him constantly after, and then develops feelings for him. And obviously, like, I think any human's kind of thing would be like, I can't be with this guy. He killed the other guy I was with. That's a lot to deal with. So I was so stoked. I was hoping Joel Kinnaman would come back, especially knowing that the whole Rick Flagg Senior Revenge Tour was going to be a main plot point of this season. And I do think, obviously, when we see later on, I don't think it took away from that either, honestly, because Chris's reaction to seeing him in real life, I think, that's the moment that you needed there, not the surprise of Joel Kinnaman coming back and reprising the role. So I think that was still very effective. But it does lend a very and I think it's going to be the crux of this whole alternate dimension thing, is that there is a version of his son in this other dimension. And I think Rick Flagg Sr. is going to help somehow. I'm jumping way ahead in theory stuff, but I think Rick Flagg may go on the side of Peacemaker somewhere in this series. And I have not seen any of them early. I've only seen these 3 episodes, so I know nothing. But I told TJ a theory I'll revisit later after episode 1, and I think this only adds more to that theory. We'll get into that later though. But very, very stoked to see Joel Kinnaman back. It was fun. He's on the after show podcast with James Gunn and Kinnaman and Jennifer Holland too, and that was cool to hear him talk about coming back and everything like that.
Agreed with what Jam says in chat. Jennifer Holland is such a talented actress. She continues to prove all the bozos wrong who were like, why does James Gunn cast his wife and everything? She is so great in this role. Like, she is so incredible in this role. And she really showed her range in this episode, playing 2 different versions of Harcourt. Chris, I have to imagine this reveal is why you wanted to come in for episode 3.
Yeah, this reveal and a theory I've got later on, or the 2 main reasons why I wanted to be part of this episode. I think Joel Kinnaman coming back as Rick Flagg Jr. is the perfect way to bring back a deceased character. It doesn't feel like it served the story perfectly. It didn't feel like, James Gunn just wanted to bring him back for the sake of bringing him back. That opening scene where, he brings up Enchantress, we discover that little part of David Ayer's Suicide Squad is kind of into the DCU. I enjoyed all of that, but I think the thing I enjoyed most was there's a line in season 1 of Peacemaker where, Jennifer Holland's character, Emilia Harcourt, I forgot her name for a second. Emilia Harcourt's talking to Peacemaker and she calls him a murderer. And that line, I think, means so much more now, knowing that she had a relationship with Rick Flagg. And then obviously the conversation she has with Adebayo in the episode as well. Just again to learn about her feelings for Peacemaker, for Chris, and the relationship she had with Rick Flagg and how both of those worlds kind of mesh together. It's making me enjoy the story just a lot more. And then obviously we mentioned Jennifer Holland's performance of the 2 different Harcourts, but I think also Joel Kinnaman, his version of Rick Flagg from that alternate reality is the most fun I've had watching someone play another version of their character. He's clumsy. There's a scene where he's like trying to hide, and then he has like 2 phones. He's like listening to 2 phones at the same time. He's, bins are falling over. I had a great time watching Joel Kinnaman return in this role.
Very well said. I want to talk about this new universe they're going into, because obviously for Peacemaker, it's incredible, right? He's got this cool, his brother is alive, first and foremost, and we see them bonding throughout this episode, and we get some really, really great scenes with, I apologize, I always forget the actor's name, Roy from The Office.
David Denman.
David Denman, thank you. He does such a wonderful job, and that's obviously the biggest thing, but he's in love with Harcourt. In this universe, Harcourt is in love with him too, and just wants him to be less of a douche. And this version of Peacemaker is less of a douche than the one he has been replacing. For him, from his perspective of what he knows so far, looks pretty perfect. But, and it's a very big but, we know this version of his dad loves him, right? This version of his dad loves him. But do we know this version of his dad is a good guy? We don't know that. He's still got his creepy fucking mask on. It's just a nice shade of light blue instead. Damon first pointed this up to me. I didn't notice it watching the screener. I did notice it in the rewatch. First thing Jam is bringing up right now in the chat, and it's been noticed, and other people have noticed it on social media as well. There only seem to be white people in this new universe. I don't think there has been anybody who has not been white. Chris, I'm throwing it to you first. What are you buying into this theory that this is just a super fucking racist universe, and that's going to be the other coin that flip? What's the thing? What's the shoe? The next shoe that drops is, oh, this is so great. I love it here. I want to stay. Oh, fuck. That's kind of what's leading to me.
This was the other thing I wanted to talk about because I've seen the screeners, so but I'm not obviously going to be talking about anything past episode 3. But when I watched it, I hadn't noticed. I was just enjoying myself watching episode 3. And then someone else brought it to my attention. So when I was rewatching it, I noticed, oh, every extra, everyone here is white. There's not a single person of color anywhere. And then someone made a joke today, I saw on Twitter, Chris's dad can't be racist if there's no one to be racist to, which is why everyone just seems so happy. And I think this is going to be the big plot twist that happens later. You know, Chris is having a great time in this universe. His brother's alive. His dad is here. You know, a loving father to him. And then all of a sudden, he's gonna find out that, oh my god, everyone here is a raging racist. And I think that's going to kind of change his perspective on, you know, is this a place where he can see himself staying? There's a lot of dynamics that I think it can play into. But if that is the case, I think James Gunn has done a great job of, you know, kind of hinting at it. Because I think most time when you watch a show, you don't really always pay attention to the extras or the people in the background. But on a second watch, you just notice, oh, there's literally no people of color anywhere in this alternate reality compared to when we're back in the main universe in Evergreen, or just anywhere else in the show. So I think that is the direction James Gunn's going in. I hope it is. I hope it's not just we forgot to, you know, have, you know, people of color as extras in this part. So I do think that is where we're heading with this whole universe, and I kind of want to see Adebayo come into this universe just to see what the reaction of the people are like, because is everyone going to be a racist? Like, I don't know what their reaction will be like. I don't know what Peacemaker's father's reaction or his brother's reaction. It sounds bad, but I kind of want to see Chris break down. I just want to see him break down in this realization.
It would be such an interesting twist too, because like meeting this version of his dad where it's like, hey buddy, love ya, what are we up to? It reminds me of how many times, like, you, especially in like a specific area, you know, you'll meet someone who they seem so nice and so welcoming and they're so great, and then you hear them talk about a specific group of people and you're like, the fuck did you do? Where is this hate hiding within you? Why is it there? And that kind of seems like what we could be getting here in this universe. I didn't notice it originally, but that is when brought to my attention was something I went, oh shit.
Also, if I can add, the way they talk about the imps in, I think, the first episode is kind of very telling that they're not really, his father's not really different. They talk about the imps in such a disgusting way, but it kind of goes over our head because it's like, oh, they're just imps from another thing, you know, they're not people. But the way they talk about them is incredibly disrespectful, and I think that kind of plays more into this theory that, you know, this is a world where, you know, white supremacy rules.
And I agree with the chat. I think that's like, there's going to be a moment when Adebayo walks in and that's Chris's best friend. As much as Vigilante wants it to be him, it's ads. And that's going to be when he realizes, and it's going to hurt. And he's going to realize that even though this life may feel better for me, this world is not a better place. And what I did, who I am in this universe, has helped make the world a better place. And that's an important thing. And I think that I could see that being the reason he wants to get the hell out of there as well. Rachel, what do you think of the theory?
Yeah, Damon's over here posting in the chat some theories that are blowing my mind. There's also one that I saw him post. My thought was that the Sons of Liberty were good guys trying to overthrow a fascist government. Because I was like, when I was watching that, I was like, it would be so fitting if they were actually the good guys. And this was just a really shitty universe with a really shitty government, which does end up tying incredibly well into the white supremacy theory, which I hadn't heard because I'm simply not online. I have not been paying attention to any of this, so I am learning.
I'm so envious of you.
Look, Twitter's gone for me. I do not go on it. But Yes, no, and I think it's probably going to be, it's definitely going to be one or the other or both. There has to be another shoe that's going to drop with this universe. It's too perfect. It's too nice. And we all know that dice comes with a price. There's no way that this is going to be, there's not going to be some sort of catch to this. So I'm interested to see which one it is, or if it happens to be both, or a secret third thing. Who knows?
I am envious of you and Damon, who have gotten rid of Twitter, don't have it as the parasite sucking life out of you anymore. As soon as I don't have not one but two jobs that rely on Twitter so heavily, I'm out.
I only use it.
I'm out of there.
The jobs. Yeah, I literally use it to like post reviews and stuff. Otherwise, I'm not on there.
Yeah. Sean, what do you think of the racist universe theory?
Yeah, there's a lot that holds water to that theory. And I do agree. I feel like the Sons of Liberty are because in the comics they are like anti-government terrorists who think America's lost their way, and it's kind of the opposite of this, where they'd end up being, you know, the heroes trying to take over the fascist government. And the whole Earth X thing is like the Nazis won the war, and then they did what the Nazis intended on doing. And there is a small line of dialogue with his brother that adds to this when he says, why does Oliver's clothes look like Kardashian's furniture? And he says, who are the Kardashians? Which everyone assumes like they're Armenian of descent. So if this was, you know, a completely whitewashed world, they would not exist because they would not have been born. So that's like a slight little thing that adds a little bit to that theory. And Damon is probably right. We could be totally whiffing on this. But there is something terribly off about this universe. And I felt it every time they go to it. Like things like even just like the bomb being detonated so easily. Like you just unplug a few things and then which the way it's set up that makes sense. But like that's really how they wired a bomb with the what is it called? the crazy made up word. Chris is like, what'd you say? So, you know, like stuff like that, where it's like these weird
anytime I can pull a podcast back to Avatar: The Last Airbender, I can. But it reminds me of one of my favorite line readings in literally all of television, where they're going into Omashu for the first time, and they have these. The gang has their disguises on, and Aang, the Avatar, for those who don't know, the main character, he's pretending to be an old man. And he's like, "Oh, I'm Mr. Pipsin Papalopican Lopicus," and I forget how to say it because it's so hard to say. And he goes, "These are my grandkiddos." And then Katara, one of the other main characters, shout out to Mae Whitman, comes in. "Hi, June Pipsin Papalopicus," and just like it comes out so perfectly and so quick after hearing like this most wildly ridiculous name, and that's what that scene reminded me of when he's like, "The fuck did you just say?"
I was like, "What is this? I missed something."
I was like, "What?" And then when Chris says it to you, you're like, "Okay, it's not just me." Like,
yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay, good. I did miss something."
Excuse me. But yeah, I agree. I think that holds a lot of water for sure. There's definitely something wrong with this universe. It can't be this perfect, or else it would there would be no kind of narrative juice to mine there at the end. You know, he just stays in this new universe or brings some of them with him or something. Like it seems too easy. It's got to be complicated and weird and messed up. And like what Damon said, if he has to kill his brother again, that's brutal, man. That's so, especially after the scene in this episode where he's like, "I just miss you, man." He's like, "You don't need to miss me. I'm right here." And I'm like, oh, like, and the fact that this version of Peacemaker is obviously might have had more wrong with him than the Peacemaker that we know. You know, he's into, like, he keeps being like, all you're doing is drinking. You see the pills. They mention pills again. Harcourt makes some other comments of like him messing around on her and, you know, just like being a douchebag basically, which you know, the version we've grown with Peacemaker has had moments like that too, but we know it as it's like a coping mechanism for him feeling not worthy enough. It doesn't make it right, but there's an excuse. It seems like this other guy has no excuse. He's just kind of a dirtbag to be a dirtbag, especially with the his Kardashian furniture clothes and whatever the hell else he's doing in this
loafers.
Yes, the leather pants.
Rick Flagg Sr. gets some intel about what this universe really is. And so he says, I know a guy. And he sends in G.I. Robot to clean up the whole universe. Except for his son.
Epic.
And bring his son back to his universe. I would love to see G.I. Robot pop in. That would be pretty funny. Whew. You get I love the Sons of Liberty theory that these are in this universe, the good guys. I think that's a really fun theory, and I did enjoy the action sequence with Peacemaker and them as well. I think it did a good job of showing off with the way that people were acting about what he was doing, that this Peacemaker is a lot more capable than the other Peacemaker. Like, this is a Peacemaker that does not need his suit, his helmet, and all of his gadgets. This is a Peacemaker that is one of the greatest killing machines on the planet. And he doesn't need all the gadgets given to him. And I think that makes sense because he's struggled more. So that makes sense as to how he would have adapted to have these skills. And we do get a little tease for next episode that Judo Master will be back. I just dropped my interview with Nut Lee, the Judo Master actor from 3 years ago. One of my very first interviews as I was popping into the industry here. So you can check that one out if you want. But it teases next episode a little bit with Judo Master, Michael Rooker's eagle hunting character, and a whole bunch of Argus agents piling towards Peacemaker's home. Chris, you and I can not theorize on what's going to go next, and so I'll throw it to Sean first. What do you think we're leading into with episode 4 here?
It's hard to say what episode 4 is really going to do, because obviously it ends with Chris coming back to the main universe and the Argus agents heading to his home. And we did see also that like Argus takes in Harcourt and be like, here's your shot. You got to take out Peacemaker. And obviously that's going to be very complicated for her too. And you already see Economos being like, I don't want to do this, but he's so scared of not having this job that he is willing to like sacrifice his friendship for it. And but I think he's going to eventually break down to Rick Flagg and be like, your son's in this other universe. And I think that's going to be a very big moment. I just from episode 1, I think that he is going to try and merge the universes somehow. I don't know how he would have that technology or whatever. Maybe his dad told him about something. I don't know. But I think he's going to try and meld the universes into one. And I think that's going to cause a lot of problems, obviously, for a lot of different things. But I think that's like a later thing, not next episode. I don't think that's going to happen directly next episode. I'm very interested to see how it goes. Like, it seems like him and Eagly flees. And I'm sure he'll seek out like ads help or something, kind of see where we go from there. But yeah, I'm not sure. I am scared for Eagly though. They don't kill Eagly, please. That's all I want. I don't want Eagly to die.
Hopefully Eagly makes it through. Our guy, shout out to maybe the best voice actor on earth, D. Bradley Baker, who makes the Eagly noises. Rachel, what do you think is going to happen in episode 4? Do we get Peacemaker wanting to stay in that universe? Do we get an Eagly hunt? How do you think this is going down?
Gosh, honestly, like, there's so many possibilities that I just don't know where we could go with this. Like, it's going to have to. I agree with what Sean said. Like, there's going to be something about merging them. There has to be something about that. But for this next episode, I feel like it may just go deeper into figuring out more about it. I'm along for the ride. I'm like low-key just sitting here. I'm like, I'm vibing with this. I'm scared to know what's going to happen next. Please leave Eagly alone. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt any animal, please. But I don't know. There's so many different directions it can go. I can't decide on just one single direction.
That'll do it for this episode of our Peacemaker breakdown. But make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on all the stuff we have coming. Head over to agentsfandom.com because there will be a plethora of reviews coming from the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, dropping on the site over the next couple weeks. Plus, here on the podcast, we're going to be talking some Marvel Zombies within the next couple weeks. And I do have a fun interview related to that coming up as well. So stay tuned. Can't talk about it just yet, but we will have it dropping here on the channel and wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, we got some fun shows coming up on the horizon as well, like Gen V getting back into the boys universe. And I know, Sean, you'll be wanting to pop back on here with me for that one, because whenever we have like these the boys Invincible type shows, like I know that's your bag. And so we're gonna be having a fun time here. And I know someone else who also doesn't mind that show since she joined those type of shows since she joined us for Invincible is Rachel. Rachel, where can the people find you on the social you do still have?
I mean, I have Twitter. I just don't use it very often, but my Twitter is at Tempest Teacup. The @'s in my name here. I'm at Just a Waste of Death on Instagram, where I'm much more active and post more of my interviews and reviews, etc. That's really it. Like, Blue Sky is just for fandom stuff. So I don't know. Don't follow me there unless you want to see weird things, I guess. Just stick to Instagram. I think we'll stick with
the weird things that used to be on Twitter. I remember when the weird things were getting posted on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I've never seen this side of Rachel. Okay.
Yeah,
it was fun.
We don't do that, but you can find my writing too at I haven't written at the Mary Sue in a while, but my older writing is there. I'm at that hashtag show now doing some reviews and interviews, and also helping Tessa over at Mama's Geeky doing some interviews as well. So you can find me on those YouTubes.
Check out all of Rachel's content, some wonderful stuff. Chris, how about you? Where can the people find you on socials, and do you have any fun content coming?
You can find me at Luminous Dagger on Twitter. I think it's the same on Instagram, or I might have changed it to Christopher Rates at either one. Christopher Rates on Instagram. Luminous Dagger on Twitter, and I'm reviewing Peacemaker and Alien Earth weekly at Nexus Point News. I've got a Long Walk review coming up there soon, and I've got a Highest to Lowest review dropping sometime this weekend at Popped. So that's kind of what I've got coming up over the next couple days / week.
Check out our friends over at Pop News and the wonderful stuff that they're doing over there. Both of you, Tempest Teacup, Just a Waste of Death, Luminous Dagger. I'm feeling like an idiot with TJ _Zwarych as my social names. MetalCoreNerds, bring us home. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on all social media at MetalCoreNerds. I recently changed up the show a little bit. It's still the same thing, having people from bands come and talk, but it's just kind of more general and diving deep into what they love about pop culture. I just had the singer of Silverstein on. I'm going to have the guitarist of Dance Gavin Dance on in a few weeks. And I'm working on scheduling the certain singer of a band who may sing the intro music to Peacemaker. So we'll see where it goes with that. But I've been working on that for months. I'll lay in some tea. I've known that's been the song for Peacemaker for like 6 months now, and I've kept that to myself. I know Foxy Shazam from back in the day. I know TJ mentioned that the first episode. So very stoked on how that's going, and go check it out. Go check out the last few episodes. It's very conversational and fun, and you get to hear people in bands you've probably listened to since you were a kid talk about things they love rather than music stuff, which is, I think, is cool. And you can find some of my writing, some at Agents of Fandom, some at Collider. Just dropped a Dexter Theory article. There's an Alien Earth article that just went up talking about episode 5, and I'm working on a Peacemaker article right now about the Sons of Liberty. So you can check all that stuff at Collider.com.
We might have to make a little group chat here, as Jam is saying, Chris and Sean, we got to talk some
Let's
Alien.
go.
I'd love to talk Alien.
I'll produce. I haven't seen the show, but I'll produce it, and you guys can have an Alien show right here on the podcast. So maybe we drop a couple of those over the next couple of weeks as well. So if you're an Alien Earth fan, stay tuned for that. And you can also check out Sean's interview with Alex Lothar and who is the other person?
Sydney Chandler.
and Cindy Chandler up on the Agents Fandom YouTube page and wherever you get your pods. Stay tuned, Alien Earth fans. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of myself, Sean, Rachel, and Chris, we will see you next time, and peace. Come on, mouse, work.